Welcome to the Lead Up Leadership Podcast. Hear from rising leaders and seasoned leaders across various industries to see about their leadership journey and how you can level up your leadership game. Here's your host, Renato G. Lead up!
All right, and we are back with another episode of the Lead Up Leadership Podcast, and I have a special guest with me for this one. I met this young woman 2 years ago in our graduate program at Sac State, our higher education leadership program. Got to know her over time and just really got to feel the fire from her personality and just her drive and ambition, all the great things that she's doing, not only at Sac State, but also, in the community, and which you will hear more from her. So without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Veronica Rodriguez. How you doing?
Good. Hello. Thank you for having me, Renato. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Excited to be here.
I'm excited, and just to really dive, because you've been, not only within, the graduate program working at Sac State, but you've been super and heavily involved in the community, right? We were even talking before we recorded some things that are kind of in the queue, but you have to be hush on. But I want to start first. I know some of the questions I sent you. One of the most recent things when it comes to leadership in our world, in our country, right, is our president-elect, Joe Biden, along with VP Kamala Harris. And I saw a post that you shared, and which is why I wanted to ask you, what were your initial thoughts and reactions, with all that's been going on, and now with this new leadership change, what were your initial thoughts?
I was immediately just a sigh of relief, which I think the entire world did a collective sigh of relief. There's just been so much divisiveness, and there still is. And that's why everyone's always saying there's so much work to be done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is, obviously. But the sigh of relief that we're going to have leadership. And it was, I'm a fan of Joe Biden. He does have that fatherly feel, and you see that a lot with him, and the way he won, and he was with all of his family. So, and he's always was a champion for, President Obama. So, and I like that he picked a woman, which of course everyone knew, politically that's what he has to do, but he picked a strong woman. It's not like he picked the, softest woman of the bunch. He picked the hardest, strongest woman out there. I mean, so when I saw, Vice President-elect Harris now, when I saw her give her speech, I didn't realize how much it was going to hit me until I saw it. Yeah. And as a woman who's always trying to do more, trying to, mentor young women, trying to, I reach out to my mentors as well. It just meant so much to see her in action, to see her taking that stage, and the world just screaming, and applauding for it was overwhelming. It was just, I guess you don't really know how much women are kept down until you see them finally take that step up. So that's what was so just overwhelmingly emotional was, wow, women have been held back for so long, and this we're still only at the vice president level. So we're not even at the very tippy top. We're still at the vice president level, but for that ceiling to be shattered by somebody like Kamala Harris is just incredible. Yeah. So, I people are saying, she's, a strong Black woman, but a win for Black women is a win for brown women, is a win for minority women. And I just couldn't be more excited for her, and more excited to see the change that she's going to bring, because she broke the ceiling. That's, there's only up now, and she is going to bring others with her. And it's just, it was just a great day for women and for the United States, but really for women. It was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, no, that's great. And
I was crying.
I believe you. And I know so many people, so many young women and girls were as well, right? Seeing the pictures and different posts and just like different comments that were being made. And I love that you brought up this important issue when it comes to women in power and leadership. Because I know that was something you were very vocal about, and many of our peers were too during the class at Sac State. And I'm just curious if we can narrow down a little bit more into that, and just maybe sharing kind of your experience and kind of what are you hoping to change, or whether it's Kamala Harris or just what you're doing at Sac State or even beyond Sac State. What are you hoping that is being changed for women in leadership positions?
I think it's a double-sided coin. Like, men, what are you doing? And women, what are you doing? I think it needs to be, so I guess it starts back a little bit more. So I have 4 brothers, and I'm very, very alpha male dad, who is like my best buddy and who I am just like him. So growing up, going toe to toe with men, with young boys was all I knew in my life.
Got it.
So, and people have always said that to me, like, how do you just interact with these older men? Nothing. And I'm like, I've been fighting with my dad my whole life for no reason, just to fight. So I think it takes a certain sense of complete confidence in yourself, and knowing that what you bring to the table is just as good, if not better, than what everyone else brings to the table. Well, you kind of are always on this overcompensating, overachieving side to prove everybody wrong, which I don't think is bad. I love being the best. I love going hard, trying as much as I can every day in everything I do. So I have an extreme personality, and that's okay. But I think it works when you're in leadership, because you need to be confident, because you're working with others, you're giving directions to staff members, and you want to be taken seriously in any leadership role. So you need to be confident in your answers. And then it goes on the other side for the males. You need to respect that person. Whether she's a male or female, or she's they're male or female, that they know what they're talking about, the same. And so like, I'm very fortunate where I work. I have 3 counterparts. 2 are at my level, and then my director. They're male, they're older, their kids are grown, but they're great allies. My director's phenomenal ally. And so it really does take both people to make it work. And so I always feel 100% supported, because when one of them will just like talk over just because we're in conversation, I know one of them's going to be like, hold on, Veronica was saying something. Or I'll just be like, hold on, be quiet, I'm saying something.
Gotcha.
So it takes a confidence and a relaxation of, it's okay to know that everybody's working on this. It's okay if you don't get it right the first time, just keep working at it and making it doesn't have to be a hostile environment. It just needs to be a working environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes great sense. And I love that you're talking about the work environment. Could you share a little bit more about what exactly that you do in your role, your responsibilities, and maybe tying how you apply your leadership style to lead your team?
Sure. So I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at Sac State. So I oversee all the marketing and communication for all of admissions. So on an average, we get about 40,000 applications per year for the fall semester. We're actually in recruitment right now for the fall 21 semester. So we're always working a year, 18 months in advance. So time flies in admission.
Oh, yeah.
So applications are open right now for first-time freshmen and for transfers.
There you go. Shameless plug. Yeah.
csu.edu/admissions for more information.
There you go.
I'm in charge of all the marketing communication. So anything from a promotional flyer, social media, for the admissions page, following up with people that have attended workshops, anything, things you see on the billboard, communications to all of those 40,000 applicants come from me. It's me and my small but mighty team that we work that. We also work with a lot of different programs. So I kind of lead various special projects for admissions. including the Hornet Launch program that we for the first year this year, we pre-scheduled all incoming freshmen with guaranteed 14 to 16 units. So this allowed students to just be immediately on the path to a 4-year graduation rate.
That's great.
So it was super exciting. So because I was in there, I was able to help take the communications, guide it and push it forward. And so, no, this is what we need. This is what we need. And it was a great opportunity to work with different departments, different communication teams throughout Sac State. So it was a really great example. So admissions is all about getting students into Sac State, teaching them what they need to do along the way, because it's a super stressful process getting into college, especially if they're a senior and now they're a senior working or, doing school virtually. So we're just trying to help them get to college. And in admissions, we're really focused on all the different communities and the way we need to support them. We have a great outreach team that that's been doing a lot of presentations virtually, a lot of phone calls, just to get students excited that they're still on the path to graduation or on the path to Sac State. So that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. It's really, it's one of the most rewarding ways you could, for me, work at a university is seeing that, first time someone's ever been to campus and seeing them just light up, because Sac State's so diverse and they see, whoa, another brown face. Like, I don't see that at colleges, or so it's a great experience. We typically have a admitted student day, which I think is the best day at Sac. It really is. It's the day we're, getting all the people that have been accepted to Sac State. We have them come check out all the colleges. They bring in their families. And the first time when I first started working, maybe 3 years ago now, the first admitted student day I saw, and I was checking people in like, hey, welcome to Sac State. Exciting. It was the student, her mom, and her grandma all there.
Wow.
The three of them together, and the grandma, she's grabbing the program. She's like, what stickers do you have? Oh, I want stickers. Everything. She couldn't wait. So she's like, oh, I'm so excited. My baby's going to Sac State. We're going to say yes to Sac State. So it was something that it became this, tradition to go to, that it wasn't just for the student, for the mother, and it was for the grandma. So I was like, oh, admissions got me hooked.
Yeah.
That's the impact I want to have. So, again, our job is to get people to Sac State and to help them along the process. And in the meantime, we get to help lift families into a whole new level and, break those curses of not going to school or not knowing how to. And, as a first-gen university, it is a very rewarding place to be.
That's awesome. And I love, speaking of Sac State and talking about impact, we mentioned, 2 years ago, we got the opportunity to do the EDLB program, a couple of episodes. Shout out to Tara, got to interview her, but I didn't get a chance to ask her, what was her reasoning for joining and kind of getting more of her experience. I think at the time we were still wrapping up. But now that we're done, right? Technically we're done. Still waiting on the master's degree, right? Right. But technically we're done. Thesis submitted. But I'm curious to hear from you, what was the reason for you joining the graduate program, and what did you get from that experience? Because I preface that because I'm going to touch on the next thing that you were also involved in beforehand with NELP, which is a fellows program, another leadership focused program. So I'm curious, what led you to, basically get involved and pursue a master's?
Well, so I guess it's again, I never have a short answer. So, but I guess it's more, I love the aspect of leadership and how it takes so many forms.
Yeah.
I love higher education and how it transforms lives. And I've always wanted to get my master's, especially when I finally graduated from undergrad. I mean, that was a 10-year journey to graduate undergrad. I was at community college for 6-7 years.
Wow.
People are from high school, they're graduated, they're having kids, they're doing their life already. I was like, I'm still community college, figuring it out. And that's okay, because it really worked for me. And it really gave me a lot of work experience. And what I realized was I work really well in cohorts. Learn a lot in cohort style.
Got it.
Going back to a little bit to now, that's a cohort.
Right.
So when I saw that it was higher education leadership, and the education system, and now that I work at Sac State, there's so much to learn about higher education.
Right.
I could stay in admissions for another 5 years and not know it all.
Wow.
Very complicated industry. I came from alumni, was my first job at Sac State. That was a whole different world.
I bet.
Membership and programming. So there's so much to learn about higher education. And I think that's what, really piqued my curiosity about it, was there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of programmings. And it's a cohort based. So I really like that aspect. I'm somebody that has to talk it out, do it to really learn it. So I felt that was going to be the best fit for me, more than anything. And I loved the opportunity to have a deeper understanding about where I work. So I felt it was a good fit professionally as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I know you touched on NELP. I'm curious, maybe share what is NELP and what was that experience like? Because I know some of it through some people that have gone through the program, and hopefully I get the chance, right, to kind of experience that next year as well. But can you share a little bit about what is NELP and what that program did for you?
Oh, yeah. NELP is the Nehemiah Emerging Leaders Program. It's basically an executive level training program for young to mid-level professionals. Typically, it's a lot of people of color go through it. So you see a lot of African Americans, a lot of, not a lot of Latinos, but a lot of African Americans, Asians, different, Caucasians, it's very well-rounded.
Diverse, right.
But it's very diverse, yeah. So, but it started off as really focused on the African American community, and it's 11 years now strong of professionals from all walks, from everywhere, from the state, from the government, from education, from small business, nonprofit, healthcare. It's just from really all walks of life that, and all professions. So I was nominated when I worked at the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and it was a program that I think I learned of it in the second class or the third class that it had. And I was like, oh my God, what is this program? Like, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it. So I was nominated and I was super excited. And I went through the program, and I thought it was just, one of the best things I've ever done for myself was go through NELP. We're class 6, me and my cohort, class 6. We're technically the best class ever. So I just want to put that out there.
Right.
We are
Class
the best
6.
class ever.
Got it.
So class 6, you'll hear it a lot because we constantly show up. We're constantly there. And it was just a great program. So you learn things that you don't technically learn in college. You don't really even learn maybe in a master's program or on the job training. It's things like, how do you have those tough conversations with your boss or your partner or your colleague? How do you negotiate your pay? How do you understand basic etiquette when you're on a board? How do you level up your game?
Yeah, right.
And that's what they teach you. So my cohort was 16 professionals, very strong-minded professionals. You'll go through part of it's the strength finders. So it's understanding, like, how do you play into your strengths more than trying to develop your weaknesses, which that alone was worth it, because I always, I wasn't the best at finance and at the budget and all that thing, but I would always try to work at it because I was like, I'm not good at this, so I got to work at this stuff, right? I was trying to fix this. But then I realized, well, I'm obviously very good at communication. I'm also a really strong relator and an individualistic type person. I'm positive. I have that woo factor as well. So
yeah, you do.
how could I really develop those.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. So we learned that our class actually, I think, had 3 people that were competitive, which is a kind of a rare one to have as like a top strength, but we had several people with that strength. So it made for some great discussions. I learned a lot. We had a very, just a really dynamic cohort. And so that's where I say I learned the most in that cohort experience, because I learned from all of my cohort members.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, we're all good friends. We're all very close. I think 10 of them were at my wedding.
Wow.
They came to my baby shower. We're there for each other. When people are having babies or getting degrees, like we're, champing them on. So it's a great experience to get close to people that you didn't know, ever before. So it's literally, they put these 16 strangers for the most part in a room, and you just become these really tight buddies and champions, and we say iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
So it's, we were put in a room with these top professionals, and it's, we all have this competitive edge of do better. We all have this, I guess, this motivation to drive each other to do better and to push each other to excel. So that's what we still do.
Yeah.
We still do that for each other. So it's a really dynamic program. I think out of everything, that's changed my life the most.
Wow, that's powerful. And I love how you talked about learning, because I truly, even more so now that I've gone through, not now, but, the EDOP program and learning with you all in our cohort, constantly learning, right? There's so many things to learn. As you're talking about admissions, you could spend more years, but still have so much to learn and experience. And I'm curious, now that you're done with now that you're done with grad school, how are you staying on top of your game? What are you intentionally doing to stay learning and growing and developing as a leader?
That's a great point. It's what else can you learn? Like, I feel for my profession, communication, marketing, I down. And what's been great, not great, but I always try to take the positive side. I always try to count my blessings before anything. Is what I've been able to take from this experience is, how am I going to be the best digital marketer? How am I going to invent and create new ways to connect with students? How do you build a warm connection through a screen?
Yeah.
And what our counselors would do when they would go out and go to the fairs is they would build a real connection with students that would make them want to apply and change their lives to go to Sac State. So that's something like, how do you build that in a screen? So our admission counselors, they were doing that. They were out every single day meeting with thousands of kids a year and really that up. So I think, it's really, how am I stepping up my game in my profession as a communicator, as a marketer? I always kind of have little facets of my life. How am I stepping up my game in my education?
Yeah.
So, there's programs at Sac State that they're offering now. There's a inclusive and equity academy that they're offering that I've applied to. So it's looking for programming like that. I actively search out new programs, camps, trainings, academies, whatever it is, to learn more about how it's going to make me a more well-rounded person. And so that's important for education. I'm still, if I say it here, it makes it so.
Just say it. Just say
and
it.
It holds me to it.
I'm gonna do my Dr. Angela Williams and say, you got to get that PhD.
Yeah. So I'm actually, I'm in the process of applying right now to
there you go.
for my EDD.
Awesome.
It just, that I feel like we're so close to the top of education, and there's just so much to learn. And I feel like the master's program, it just opened up everything.
100%.
Really opened up more about how much I don't know than how much I learned. I was like, there's so much
true.
to learn.
Yeah.
So I And the master's program allowed me to basically do a smaller version of what a doctoral thesis would be.
Right.
So I felt like it set me up for success because
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I know how to do it. It's just more.
Right.
Okay, I can do that. It's just more. I know how to do the research now. I know how to do the writing. I could do APA formatting, probably the hardest part. So, I felt like it really set me up to be successful in a program like that. So I feel pretty confident going in. And like I said, for NELP, we're always staying close together. One of my good friends who recently just got a job at Sac State from the NELP program, she talked about, was it, I don't know, 5 years ago when I was in the program, maybe 5 years ago, she talked about wanting to get her doctorate. Got a job at Sac State. When I decided, she was literally the first person I called was, girl, I was like, I got a question for you. She's like, what? I was like, you want to get your doctorate with me? I'm applying this month. She's like, oh my God. Okay. So it's that iron sharpens iron. If I'm going to the fire, let me bring her with me so we could do it together. So we could hold each other accountable, so we can support each other and learn from each other and just really give it our all together as a team. So so she's also a very high achiever. She's already applied, got all her supplementals in.
There you go.
Halfway there.
That's amazing.
So that's the goal for education, career. It's always, you always just got to be learning, and for that, but it's a constant thing. Learning is a constant thing. And, I'm glad I finally realized that.
Yeah, no, that's great, Veronica. That's great advice. Learning, and I've touched on this on other episodes, but the more I'm doing life and being in different spaces, I see how important the people around you, right? That community and people that will sharpen you, right? Not always a good feeling, but it does make you a better person, right? On the other side, if you're willing to at least endure the pain for the moment, right? So I'm curious, what advice would you give to other aspiring leaders, maybe people trying to make that next jump to a higher position, or people that are just getting started? What can they practically do to find those people that will either hold them accountable or make them better? Or, better yet, how can they start working on, if they don't have a NELP, they don't have a graduate program, what are some things they can do today that will, put them in better position for tomorrow?
I would say volunteer. And I always go back to volunteering. To me, volunteering is and was the best thing I've ever done. Personally, my family, when we grew up, my dad was always volunteering for the baseball field, like fixing the field for whatever game. And my mom was always volunteering at church. And so we were always in this kind of volunteer, you just help your community. That's what you do. So that's kind of was the way I was brought up, was everyone plays a part. That's it. My dad would be like, let's go, we're going to go do this. I'm like, okay, go along, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's all I knew, was you support your community because you're part of it. Because it owes you or anything like that. You're part of this community, so you give back. So I think, so when I was younger, I was like 19, I started volunteering for different things that I liked a lot in the arts community. I'd volunteer at festivals, and I started just doing small things. So I think what's important to know, if you're 18 to 25, 26, you're not going to start as a top dog.
Right.
For one, don't think you are.
That's good.
And that's a reality check. And that's actually a reality check I give a lot of my mentees. They're mad that they are not making as much as they thought. I was like, oh, did you think you were going to start off making $100,000 fresh from graduating? Oh, that's cute. No, reality check.
Yeah.
So I think they need a reality check. A lot of times too. I totally need a reality check. And I met people along the way that gave me a reality check. And so they weren't always nice, but I knew I needed it. And so I grin and bear it, basically. So volunteering put me in a lot of positions to learn about what I liked, to learn about different trades, to learn about communication and the art community, and just connected me a lot with other people that had like interest. I met some of my best mentors and people that I admire through volunteering. So it opened up more doors for me than any job ever has by volunteering. Actually, because I volunteered at the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I was offered a director role.
Wow.
I was volunteering just because a girlfriend was like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" I was like, "Yep, absolutely. Whatever you need." Like, I didn't even know what she was asking, but sure, whatever you want. Of course, I'll help. And so that would be my second piece of advice. If somebody asks you for advice, say yes. Or I'm ask you for help, say yes. Say yes. Always say yes. Like, somebody needs help in a job for something like that. Yes, especially if you're learning. Young person, and you're just trying to learn. Your 20s should be filled with a million different little projects, a million different little things of learning. Whether it's, I just read this new book, I'm helping this event for a day, I'm helping do someone's social media for a week. Whatever it is, they should just be continuous little activities, because you really are young and you really don't need that much sleep. So
that's great advice, Veronica. I love the reality check thing too, because that's so true. That is so true. So true.
I get it. I totally get it. I get it. One of the harshest reality checks I got was when I just graduated college. So I was like 25, and I had been volunteering, practicing PR, kind of like on the peripherals of real PR professionals. And the very first reporter I called, he was drilling me on questions. Like, I would, and I was like, "Okay, I think I'll get back to you." Sure, no problem. Like, giving all these little frilly answers, but not answering anything.
Right.
No, I wasn't prepared. And that's all there was to it. And he knew it. And he called me out on it.
Wow.
He's like, "Wait a second. Have you ever talked to a reporter before? Are you ready to be answering any of these questions?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I was mortified, scared. This professional reporter worked at the Sacramento Bee for years and years, probably one of the most respected reporters in our city. I wasn't ready to talk to him. And I wasn't even aware of, like, I didn't do any of my homework. I knew I basically set myself up for failure, but instead of him just hanging up on me, he stopped the conversation and said, "All right, why don't you come down to the Sac Bee and let's talk?" And I was like, "Okay." Back then I was like, "Oh, I'm scared," but I was so, 25, you're real rosy-eyed. You're just like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." You just do whatever, but you don't know what you don't know, right? Somebody slaps you in the face with it.
Right.
So, that experience, I mean, it was a reality check that I needed to do really well in my profession, because it never happened again. It never happened again. I never talked to a reporter and didn't have every single answer they wanted.
Wow.
So it's those type of things that really set you up for success. So, and that reporter, his name's Steve Maganini. He gave me the best piece of advice. He's all, "Delgado, the best advice I could give you is closed mouths don't get fed. Like, so ask for what you want."
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy, because that's literally the previous episode. Alejandro, shout out to Alejandro, literally said the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's true.
I'm keeping that at the top
it's
now.
True. When I'm afraid to ask for advice or ask for something from, whatever it may be, I literally play that in my head in his voice. "Delgado, close mouths don't get fed." But he's a good friend now, 10 years, 20 years, I don't know, forever ago. At my wedding, danced with me at my wedding. He's a great friend now. So
That's great advice. Hopefully y'all remember that.
Mhm.
Closed mouth don't get
Mhm.
fed.
Mhm.
As we start to wrap up, I want to hear a little bit more, just the other things, so many other things that you're involved in, but and you mentioned the chamber, but the things that you're currently involved in, what are you hoping to, besides, pursuing the EDD, what are you hoping to accomplish within this next year, 5 years? What's next for Miss Veronica?
I really want to, I know once I start my EDD program, that will be all encompassing, but I really want to use it to elevate my community and what I'm working on now of bringing research, sources to say the chamber if we need research group or anything of that nature. I do sit on the Hispanic Chamber Foundation board as their vice chair. So I want to use it to just bring it. I mean, I guess in the end of the day, it's just bringing in resources to the groups that I, really care about, I'm really connected with. So that a lot of my stuff, I try to put it in play and let it kind of just cook on its own. Like a 3-year cooking process
Yeah, right.
for the EDD program. So it's actually like right now I'm starting to get it ready, doing all the preparation for it because it's going to be a 3-year cooking process. There's also, I really want to level up my game more on understanding all the diversity and equity skills that you need to be a better leader because there's
Yeah.
just like
Oh my
what
gosh.
are my blind spots that I don't know I'm missing.
Yeah.
So because if whatever I learn, I can help more students and you know so that's a big thing. I really want to see my students in the next couple of years. Two of my students are going to be graduating, so
Nice.
I my student assistants, and one of them she's joined me freshman year, so I want to make sure that she's off into a better, she's graduating, she's got a job. So there's a lot of things like that. My brother, my dad, my husband, they all have small businesses, well, big business, but they own their company, so I want to make sure that I'm still pulling my weight because
Right.
I'm the marketer in the family. So there you go. So I have those 3 side jobs. My
There
husband,
you go.
he takes care of himself basically, but I'm always there to support with whatever. And my dad and my brother, I'm always their eternal marketing consultant. So
There you go.
just there's just always things working. I love volunteering. Um, I had a baby 10 months ago, so Julia's 10 months already. So once she's about a year and a half, then I'll get more active in the community. So
There you
I
go.
like to give myself a little time, and I'll get more active, join another board in the arts community, vocal about things in
Yep.
the political world.
Awesome.
Typically, well, this is only the second baby I've had, too. But I got to lay low a little bit so I can just focus on my family. So I'm kind of in that phase of laying low so I could focus on my family. And in the next year, you'll start seeing some stuff moving. Really, fall of 21 is when I plan to kind of come back out, get more involved in the community, start doing the regular Veronica thing of being loud and vocal.
Yeah, that's great. And this will be this trying to think of how to end this properly, but because you have so much to say, so I want to make sure I capture the right thing. But knowing what you know now and the things that you're aspiring to do and things you've learned, reality checks, right? What's kind of every leader needs this. What are you telling this person?
Every leader needs, God, I think every leader needs a support system. You really can't do anything alone. I couldn't have the life I have by myself. I couldn't be where I'm at by myself. I had mentors up. I had mentees teach me. I had, adversaries make me do better.
Gotta have the adversaries, yeah.
Yeah, hey, it's real life. So, but I would think every leader needs support, their support circle.
Yeah.
family, it's friends, it's mentors. My mentors have all evolved, but they're an amazing thing. So I would say that, and every leader needs to have the confidence in themselves, because at the end of the day, there's other people looking up to you for support and for whatever it is, and you need to have confidence when you give them answers that it's the right way. So that's where I think the always learning thing is really helpful in that confidence, because you're giving the best answer, because you've taken the time to learn what you need to.
Yep. Support system and confidence. And I definitely got to see that confidence up close and personal during our time together, and looking forward to when we do get to reconnect. But I truly appreciate all the insight, Veronica, and just all the exciting things that you're involved in, even the things that you didn't mention on here. But excited to see what you're going to be doing, and hope to see those big things in fall 21.
Cool.
But thank you again for your time. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. This was really great.
Of course.
Thanks.
Well, no problem. And that was a lead up episode with Veronica. See you guys on the next one.